Hey, folks, welcome to Advisory. I hope you guys are all doing well. As you may have figured out from the last video, today we're talking about one of the academic skills that we took a survey over yesterday. And the biggest one that you all, as students, said that you have the most trouble with is studying for tests. So that's where we're going to start today with our academic skills. These are Mr. Hall's tips on how to effectively study for tests. The first is to understand the test, meaning to get as much information about the test itself as you can, as early as you can. The first thing is to know when the test is. Put it on your calendar, set reminders, anything you can do to know exactly when the test is going to be so you're not caught off guard the day of. What exact information will be on the test? Usually, especially with tests throughout the year, they're over specific units or specific concepts. And so knowing what you're being tested over is very important. What will be the format of the test? Are you preparing for a multiple choice where there's got to be one right answer and you just got to find it? Or is it an essay or a more writing based test where you have to come up with the ideas a little bit more on your own? What is the format of the test? Will the test be timed? And if so, how much time will I have on the test? And then think like a teacher, think like your teacher. What have they indicated is most important to know throughout the last few days of class? And all of these questions, what information about the test, when is the test, what's the format, will it be timed? All of those are things that you can ask your teacher, and your teacher will readily give you that information. The second is to pay attention during class. With most teachers, anything that happens in class, anything that they go over in class, is fair game for the next test. And so it's very important that you pay attention to what's going on in class because that is when the teacher is trying to give you the information, to have you practice, and to prepare for future tests. So don't skip. Be physically and mentally present in class. You should also be on time to class because when we're tardy to class, a lot of the times we miss whatever the teacher is saying to set up the rest of the class. And if we come in the middle, we'll be confused and it'll take longer for us to catch up if we catch up at all. Concentrate on lectures, discussions, readings, all those things that the teacher, all the material that the teacher provides you. Take notes during class, even if your teacher doesn't explicitly ask you to or take a grade on your notes. While sometimes teachers will take grades over notes, the real purpose of notes is for you to retain the information. And so taking notes is a good way to prepare for tests. Asking questions as they come to you, raising your hand and participating in class is a huge help, and taking the initiative to go to tutoring for extra help on things that you find difficult.
In class is where all the magic happens.
All right, this is where you do the practice work or you learn the concepts that will be on the test. Number three is to create your own study materials. Your teachers will probably give you all sorts of resources to study for whatever test, but it often helps for you to create your own because you can make the material make sense to you. This is what the previous video talked a lot about when it comes to making flashcards and taking notes. Looking over past assignments to see what potential questions or concepts might be tested will be helpful. Rewriting your notes after you take them in class to sharpen your knowledge and include things you may have missed when you first took notes. Also, collaborating with other students after class or after you get done taking notes to see what they may have caught that you may have missed can be very helpful as well. And then turning your notes or assignments into flashcards or practice quizzes to make it easier for you to review the material. You can make physical flashcards, but there are also all sorts of free online resources for creating your own flashcards, for quizzing yourself, making it into a game, whatever you want to do. But if you create your own study materials instead of relying on that of your teacher or your fellow classmates, you're much more likely to retain the information in a way that makes sense to you. Number four, time management, which is its own academic skill that we will talk more in depth about later. But managing your time when it comes to studying for tests is very important. Don't wait until the last minute. Keep track of how many days you have until the test. Study a little bit every day instead of a lot all at once. They talked about that in the first video of how our brain retains information, and it's much easier if it's in smaller chunks over a period of time rather than
everything all at once.
and finally, when you do study, I would suggest to cut out your distractions during short focused study sessions. Everybody thinks that you have to study for long periods of time where you're just sitting in a library and you're just flipping through pages and you can't get up, you can't eat because you're too busy studying. But that doesn't really help. All right. It helps to have short, focused study sessions wherein you take your phone and you put it on Do Not Disturb and you put it down and you try to eliminate distractions for maybe 30 minutes at a time instead of trying to do 2.5 hour long study sessions that are filled with you looking at your phone or doing all sorts of other different things. And finally, you have to prepare for the day itself, right? You have to take care of yourself so that you are in top shape for the test. Get plenty of sleep the night before. Nobody performs well when their brain has not had enough time to properly shut down and restart. Drink water, make sure you're hydrated, and have a small breakfast. Give yourself
A little bit of brain food.
Give yourself a little time for maybe a quick review, last minute details, but then trust your preparation. If you spend the time that you need to spend over a long period of time while you're preparing for the test, then trust the way that you have prepared. Your brain, if it is well rested and well fed, is more likely to bring up and recall information that you need for test day if you have spent a long time preparing for it rather than trying to cram it all at the last minute. And then finally, remember that it is just a test. No matter what test it is. If you totally bomb, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean that you're a bad student. All you do at that point is review how you did, see what you missed, take steps to correct the grade if possible, and master material that you had trouble with. A lot of people put a lot of pressure on test days, but if you follow these steps, then you'll be prepared. And if you are prepared, then test day is a lot less scary. And you may be wondering right now, as teenagers often do,
When will I use this in real life?
which brings me to my new segment.
When will we need this in
Real life.
So these are some of the ways that you will need to learn the academic skill of studying in real life. First of all, there are lots of tests in this world. Whether you're going to college or not, you got to take a test for just about everything to get a driver's license, job certifications, job training. Whenever someone is training you on how to do a job when you first get hired, you have to be able to retain the information that they're telling you and use it later. And just retaining information in general, remembering things. This is what studying helps you to do. It creates those neural pathways in your brain that make it easier for you to retain information and learn things in the future. It also teaches time management on how to prepare ahead of a deadline or how to complete timed tasks in the moment. And the best thing that studying for a test helps you with is this: self-discipline and focus. Studying for a test helps you learn how to focus on a task, how to set a goal for yourself and accomplish that goal, and how to self-motivate. To prepare for a test is definitely a task in self-discipline because nobody else can take the test for you, and how you do on a test is directly related to how well you've prepared ahead of time and how disciplined you were in the studying. So studying for tests helps you build that self-discipline for other tasks. All right, on the next slide is this discussion. I want you guys to talk about it as an advisory class. From the first video, you've got these two questions. Why is it important to spread your studying out over long periods of time? Think about what they said about the brain and how it retains information. And then number two, which tests do you have coming up that would be a good idea to make flashcards for? And then from my video, answer these two. Why is sleep so important for preparing for tests? And then what real life situations can learning how to study prepare you for? But that is all from me for today. Be good to yourself and others, and I will see you tomorrow.